Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. This is the 100th episode of the Round Table. I'm being joined by Joe Habib from Ringside Reporter, Dave from the Shoe Shine, and G Funky from G Funky Boxing. Hope everybody's having a great afternoon. Okay, yet another episode. The streak did not break, babe. The streak continues. 100 and how does it feel? How do you feel?
Thank you for giving me the gold watch for being on the 100 straight episodes, man. Cal Ripken Award right here. Haven't missed one show. So thank you for sending me this gold watch. I appreciate it.
Look, he ain't lying. All right. We also have Calix from Calix Boxing. Kelly X. Everybody do the X. You know what I mean? Everybody do the X. Kelly X Boxing. Okay, the mic was in the way. But to shout out to him, you know what I mean? He's over here doing the Hulk Hogan pose, and for a guy that never watched wrestling, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. I want to thank everyone right now in the chat from Major Key, Puerto Rican Rum, Bruce Goss, Jazz, Boxing Jazz, and more. Major Key Boxing, Sonteo Media, Chicano Prophet, Puerto Rican Rum, George Foster in the building. I want to just shout out to everybody, man. We appreciate you being here. If you're watching on the archive, hit the like button and let us know what you think about the stuff we talk about. I want to start with something really quick. I don't want to spend too much time with it. It's going to be a quick cap or no cap. Ryan Garcia said he ran up on Tank, let him know what's up, that Tank grabbed his chain, and he knew Tank was going to let go of the chain. So Tank ended up letting go of the chain, but he told him, look, I'm a tough guy when I need to be in the ring. I'm not a tough guy outside of the ring. All right, and he just walked away. He let Tank have it, okay? Calix cap, all cap, no cap, some cap. What's up with the story? What's going on with your boy?
I don't know if it's all cap, no cap. It seems believable. Look, I just want to see the fight. I don't care if the chain was snatched, the chain wasn't snatched. There's debate about that as well. But
okay.
I just want to see the fight, D-Style. I want to see the fight.
Fair enough. Chief Funky, is the song Gangster's Paradise about Tank and Ryan, or is this all cap, or what's going on?
No, I wouldn't say that song's about Tank and Ryan. I would say more like Wanksters by 50 Cent is more their type of shit, because this is all cap. I don't care what anybody says, man. This is just nothing but these guys trying to hype up a potential fight, and I'm right on board with Calix, man. Let's just see the damn fight. Let's stop all the drama and all this other bullshit. You know, let's just see the damn fight.
In the words of Mike Tyson, sign a contract, big boy. Sign a contract, or little boy, well, whatever. But hey, Shoe Shine, cap or no cap? Did he run up on him? Did he let him know what's up or what?
Some cap. Doesn't Gervonta Tank Davis have enough legal battles pending right now? I think he's got 2 court cases in the month of December. Jesus Snatching Christ. The chain could be considered an assault in some states, man. He needs to lay his hands off. So I'm going to go with Ryan Garcia doing the right thing to promote this fight without grabbing anybody's chains or grabbing anybody's throat, for that matter.
Joe Habib, the Mr. 100. 100, not even I got 100 episodes. I got like 96 or something like that. But you got 100 episodes. Talk to us. Is this all cap? Is it? Are they bullshitting? Do you think they're talking behind the scenes that, I'm going to say this and you tweet that, or do they really dislike each other?
I got to tell you the truth. You know what this reminds me of?
What?
A scene out of that movie Menace to Society. I don't believe it. This ain't real. This is like Menace to Society. Break yourself. Break yourself. That's what I don't think it's real, man.
Okay. Half cap in the chat, they're saying. Saludos Sonteo 92 AKU. I think he was here for the first episode. By the way, in the chat, if you were here for the first episode, let us know. Say, I was here for the first episode. You know what I mean? Look, and by the way, this song is brought to you by Next Episode by Dr. Dre. All right? I just don't have the rights to the music, though. I think it's all bullshit. I think it's all cap, bro. Like, I think they're full of shit, both of them. I don't believe them. Okay? Like, I just don't. Like, really, Ryan? First of all, who admits that a dude grabbed your chain and you did nothing about it? Like, who admits that? I went up to Calix and grabbed his chain right now. Just like get over here, Calix. And I just grabbed his chain. Like he's just going to let himself. You know what I mean? And then he's going to be like, I'm not a tough guy outside of the ring. I'm a tough guy when I need to be in the ring. like, bro, you rehearsed that shit, bro. You rehearsed that line. That's what you did. Okay, shout out to Ringside Reporter Live. Check him out every Sunday here on YouTube. Orale, arriva, la raza. There we go. All right. And if you guys hear any noise in the background of the band, I did hire a band to play in celebration of 100th episode. That's what that's about. You know what I mean? So that it's not banda or anything like that. It's just, we're celebrating out here, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it is. Okay. So check it out. Let's start with the topics here. Let's give our thoughts on Joyce destroying Joseph Parker. He just annihilated Joseph Parker. I mean, that was like he beat him up like he stole some. That's pretty much how I beat him up. Okay. I mean, he beat up Joseph Parker like he slapped his daughter's ass and he wanted to beat the fuck out of him for doing it. Okay, that's how bad he fucked this dude up. He messed this dude up so bad that he went and he stole the diamond ring and tried to escape from the house. That's how he beat this dude up. All right. He beat him up bad. He knocked him out with a beautiful hook that everybody except Parker saw coming. Right. Babe, did he exceed or meet your expectations?
Well, I mean, when you have the bone density 6 times that of the normal human, what can you expect? I mean, for crying out loud, I mean, yeah, he exceeded my expectations. I did think he would win the fight. I actually thought it would go the distance, but I thought he would outwork Parker. I didn't think he would beat Parker up as badly as he did. The scorecards were close. I think I only gave Parker 2 rounds in the fight, if I'm being honest. I could see maybe giving him more than that, but for me, I just thought it was very one-sided, and I was extremely impressed by Joe Joyce, and he most definitely did exceed my expectations.
And by the way, chat, let us know. Did he exceed your expectation, Joe Joyce, that is, or did he meet him? Or is it totally what you were expecting? Calix, did he meet or exceed your expectations with that performance?
The result was what I expected because I took the Joe Joyce stoppage and I also took Shakur Stevenson decision. So they both went well for me. However, as Beeb just said, he exceeded my expectations because I didn't expect it to be as rough as it was for Joseph Parker in there. And Joe Joyce, I'm high on him. Like, I understand he's slow. I get all that stuff. I understand you can tell, but I'm not so sure of this narrative out there that a Tyson Fury can outbox him and Usyk can box him. Look, this dude throws 80 punches per round as a heavyweight, and he leans on you, and he continues to come forward. And he can obviously take punches. He walks right through them. So how do you deal with a dude like that? And yes, I think I would pick a Fury over him. I would likely pick Usyk over him, but I don't think those fights are easy, and I don't think they're gimmies either. So I like Joe Joyce. I'm high on him in this heavyweight division. He's entered my top 5. So I like it. He exceeded my expectations.
And we're going to talk about that next as well. Yo, 408. Talk to us.
He definitely.
Two California boys next right now. That's where we're going right now. We're going to the West Coast. Talk to us. Did he exceed or meet your expectations?
He met my expectations. I predicted that he was going to win by stoppage, and he did. And I say he met my expectations because I have been high on him for quite probably as long as Beeb has been on him. Look, now he's already beat a highly touted contender in Daniel Dubois by finishing him, a knockout. And now he's knocked out a former world champion in Joseph Parker. He is on track for me, if the timing is right, for a potentially be a heavyweight champion, to be one of the heavyweight champions in the future, depending on his timing. He's much improved from the guy we saw fight Usyk in the World Series of Boxing. If you haven't seen that, I mean, you can go back and watch that on YouTube. It's phenomenal because he's not the same Joe Joyce. Everything is improved. And like you guys have pointed out, this guy can walk through just about anything. While I probably would not favor him ever to beat Usyk, I do see him beating the likes of former world champions like Anthony Joshua in the future very easily, and quite a bit of other guys. So he absolutely met my expectations. He's a force to be reckoned with in the heavyweight division.
Look, I definitely agree, right? He definitely exceeded my expectations. I did not think he was going to stop Parker, to be honest. I thought Parker would do enough to survive, but he was just unrelenting. And it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like he could throw 800 punches in that many rounds because of how slow he looks, but he does. I mean, he's efficient. And there's not a lot of wasted movement with Joyce. He doesn't waste a lot of movement. He doesn't waste a lot of he doesn't have a lot of like unnecessary movement, if you catch my drift, so a very impressive performance by Joe Joyce. So he exceeded my expectations, which brings us to the next topic, because I've been hearing from the Joe Habibs and the I mean a lot of people out here, but especially Joe Habib and everybody, Eric Lorda, the ringside reporter guys, and I've been hearing a lot of people on YouTube and Twitter really rate Joyce very high, like surprisingly high, right? So here's my first kind of concern about this Joyce thing, all right? You know what? Let's just do this instead, because we're going to talk about it internally anyway within the topic. So I asked you guys to give me your top 5 heavyweights, right? We're going to revisit this, and we're going to start with G-Funky. Give me your heavyweight. You if you want to go from 1 to 5, 5 to 1, it's up to you. But give us your top 5 heavyweights.
Well, if you don't mind, I would like to give my thoughts on Joyce. You didn't ask me what I thought of Joyce.
Oh, my bad. I didn't. What?
It's all good, brother. It's all good. I got your back. All right, it's all good. But look, man, I'll say
for sure. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on him.
I'll just say that he definitely exceeded my expectations. I almost predicted that fight perfectly, except for the stoppage. I said that he was gonna break down Parker over the fight, probably drop him a couple times, and then win decisively on points. But stopping him the way that he did was definitely impressive. I was convinced of him after the Dubois fight, because I picked Dubois to beat him. For me, this was his toughest challenge, because Parker's got, he's got some good skills. He can move around the ring. He's got good lateral movement at times. He's got fast hands, good counter puncher. And Joyce was able to, just the work rate was continue to get him and break him down throughout the fight. And I think his defense is improving as well. Not a lot of people are talking about that. Did he get hit with some big shots? Of course. This is boxing, man. Guys are going to get hit with punches. But I think he rolls with a lot of those shots. He takes a lot of steam off of them. And his body attack he's just a really good fighter, man. He's improving every time I see him. Every time I see Joyce, he's getting better. So those were my thoughts on it. And look, I want to give a shout out to Parker as well for taking the fight, hanging in there 11 rounds. He took a sound beating from Joyce. So, got to give him some credit as well for taking the fight and hanging in there for 11 rounds of a beating the way that he did. As far as my top 5, man, I don't know, man. It's tough. I would definitely put Fury number 1. I think he's the guy, even though Usyk is the guy with all the belts right now. I would definitely put Fury number 1, Usyk right behind him. As far as number 3 goes, it's tough, man, but I think I would have to put Joyce there right now. I really would. Definitely over Andy Ruiz, who I would put number 4, and then AJ number 5. So that would be my top 5 at heavyweight right now.
Okay. All right. Tony Boswell, he says, much respect, D-Style Boxing and the chat stepped in to show support and hit the like button. Boxing, baby. 100. Salute. Just got in from work. Hey, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Tony Boswell. All right. Thank you so much for the support. And like Alex says, everybody hit the like. Let's get a 3rd like ASAP. Shushan, give us your top 5 at heavyweight.
Yeah, actually, my top 5 starts off just like G Funky's here. I got Tyson Fury being, the guy who beat the lineal champ and Klitschko, and that means something to me. And he spent his entire career at heavyweight. He's a super heavyweight by today's standards. I've got him still at number 1 with Usyk coming in at close number 2, only because he's relatively fresh to the division, and he hasn't beat some of the biggest monsters in the division. Joe Joyce comes in at number 3 now because he's undefeated. He's beat the young people saying Dubois was going to be a former world champion. He beats that guy up. He beats up the former world champion, so he's number 3. And then here's where 4 and 5 get dicey because it's all former world champions that could, at any moment, still potentially be champions again. I got Deontay Wilder ahead of Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz tied at number 5 because, quite honestly, depending on which way the wind blows, either of those guys could beat each other again, for all we know. I would not mind seeing those guys have a third fight someday.
Man, that is crazy. You know what I mean? Tony Boswell, he's eating. He's going to grab a bite to eat. That's right. Get your popcorn ready. You get everything ready, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? Some tacos, all that good stuff. I know it's not Tuesday, but every day is Taco Tuesday, Hey, Calix, what's your top 5 at heavyweight right now?
Not so fast to everybody who just went. The Lee Corso, not so fast. And by the way, shout out to my guy, Lukey. I just got this in the mail.
I just ordered mine.
Lukey Boxing, Inside the Ropes Boxing. Shout out to him. I have Alexander Usyk, number 1. Alexander Usyk. And the reason I did is because Tyson Fury retired, gave up the ring belt. Usyk swooped in and got it. Whether you can consider that lineal, non-lineal, to me, Tyson Fury is no longer the lineal champion because of the games he's been playing. So I don't consider him number 1 anymore, but I do have him number 2. And I have Anthony Joshua number 3. The reason I have Anthony Joshua number 3, I understand lost 3 out of the last 5, all that stuff, but he's been fighting the guys, right? And he lost to my number 1 the last 2 fights, and the second fight was pretty competitive. So I still have him number 3. He's fighting the fights, has a deeper resume than a lot of these guys. Number 4, I have Deontay Wilder still there. All right. I understand he lost to Tyson Fury, but it's Tyson Fury. Now you can dock him and knock him out the top 5. I completely understand that if you're going off of inactivity. I get it. But I have him number 4, and I have Joe Joyce number 5. He's in my top 5 now, and I think he's impressive, and he's lurking. He's there at number 5. 37 years old, though. 37. He's up there. And some of the guys in that top 5 are up there. So 5 years from now, you'll likely have a completely new top 5.
Shout out to Sly Tendencies. He has 5 Ruiz, 4 Joyce, 3 Wilder, 2 Usyk, and number 1, Tyson Fury. But let's be real. We all know Dubois is a real WBA regular champ. Bow down. There you go. All right, there you go. Chad, give us your top 5 at heavyweight. Let us know how you see that from 1 through 5, 1 being best, 5, just go up from there. But Joe Habib, talk to us. What is your top 5? I want the suspense. Can you start with 5? I want that suspense. You know what I mean? But you could start however you want.
All right, I'm gonna start with 1 because it's easier for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with TF number 1.
You got to say the full name. Like, what if somebody just walks in, they don't know anything about boxing, you say TF?
Tyson Fury, TF. I mean, that's how we address each other, man. We got, So TF is number 1. Joe Joyce is by far number 2. Usyk's number 3. Anthony Joshua's number 4. And Deontay Wilder will be number 5.
Okay. All right. Look, this is my top 5, guys. 1, I got to give it to Tyson Fury. All right.
Yeah.
But he's hanging on like by a thread. Like he's losing this every day. Like he's losing ground every day. He's losing ground. Okay. Number 2 is Usyk. He's a strong number 2. 3 is a distant 3. I want to make sure people understand this. 3, I'm going to give it to Anthony Joshua. 4, I'm going to give it to Deontay Wilder. 5, I'll put Joyce. That's my top 5. I think I have the best top 5, objectively speaking.
I think I'm the only one that didn't have Wilder in the top 5.
Well, it's understandable because he hasn't won a fight since what, 2000?
It's going to be 3 years now since he won a fight.
Yeah.
Last
So
time he
I
won a
get
fight
it.
was Ortiz, 2019, November.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for me to put a guy who hasn't won a fight in that long in my top 5.
It's a fair point.
It's a very fair point. Side Tendency says Beebs for the win. Right. Yeah, but Sly, he just doesn't want to hurt Beebs' feelings. That's what it's about, But in all seriousness, heavyweight is looking pretty good. I mean, look, yes, Joyce is 37, but I'm curious. Who would you favor in a fight, Joyce or Usyk? Beeb?
Joyce stops him.
Calix?
Man. Oh, I'll lean Usyk. It's tough though.
Okay. Chief Funky?
50-50 in my opinion. It's a
Okay.
50-50 fight.
That means
Shushan.
Usyk all the way.
Yeah, Usyk. Have you guys seen that video of that monkey that's like going through the trees and like grabbing the tigers by the ear and pulling and they can't catch him? That would be Usyk versus Joyce. Like, he would just be messing with him the whole fight. He beats Joyce. He already beat Joyce. He already has a W over him. He already has that W over him. You know what I mean? So
Henry Tillman's got 2 amateur victories over Mike Tyson. And when they fought in the pros, he got knocked out in 1 round.
that's okay. That's the exception, not the rule, right? Because that's what people said about Vajdik and Beterbiev. Oh, well, it's the amateurs, and then what happened? That's what they said about Forrest and Mosley. Oh, but that was in the amateurs. Same thing happened. So all I'm saying is Del Hoya Mosley. Oh, but that was in the amateurs. Well, but hey, you know what I mean? So we will see. But I would favor Usyk. I would. But we'll cross that bridge if we ever get there.
All
right.
Usyk in the amateurs too.
All right. I mean, Usyk was like 17 years old or something, but okay.
Mobley.
D-Style.
That is crazy. Like, you'll see the craziest upset or wins in the amateurs. You're like, what? But go ahead, Shushan.
I know. Credit to Ismail Salas, who's really improved the defense of him. This week he said that he would put his guys' stamina and gas tank against any of the top heavyweights. And I think, I wonder how our opinions would change if these were 15 round, if we still had the 15 round era in the heavyweight division, because then I give Joyce a chance of beating Usyk. We've seen Usyk fade in the late rounds. So then actually that would be a game changer for me.
Joyce has an unfair advantage over all the heavyweights though.
What's that?
It's that 6 times the bone density of a normal human, man. He's got an adamantium skeleton, man.
The thick skull.
It's really not a fair fight if I'm being
That guy's
honest.
skull is chiseled out of granite, Beeb.
It's not even a fair fight, man.
Well, one more fight because I'm curious. Or 2 more. Just really quick. I'll start with Calix again. Joyce versus Wilder.
Joyce.
All right.
Joyce. Wilder wouldn't know what to. Once Joyce takes those first few big right hands, and then Joyce just walks through them and starts throwing 80 punches per round and landing. Wilder wouldn't know what to do with that.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Joyce knows that.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know about that. But hey, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Chief Funky?
Joyce. And I'm not really going to give too many reasons why, because I honestly don't think that fight will ever happen. But Styles, the way I see it, I think he gets to Wilder and stops him.
Okay. 408.
It'd be an exceptional matchup. I would love to see that. And I think I've got Joyce by stoppage. I think the unrelentless pressure will eventually fold Deontay Wilder like we've seen him fold against Tyson Fury.
I think Wilder knocks him out. He's going to hit him, and he's going to.
Wilder does not like being walked down. D-Style. He does not like being walked down.
He doesn't. But the thing is,
I'm going to say Joyce.
Fury doesn't just walk guys down. Fury is a very skilled, quick for his size, good head movement, much better boxer and faster than Joyce. And he rolled with a lot of those shots, even the ones that knocked him down, against Wilder. Like, Joyce is not going to roll with those shots. He's going to take them flush. And I'm sorry, I don't think he could take him. I think he knocks him out. But B?
I think Deontay Wilder would break his hand for a third time if he fought Joe Joyce. I think he would shatter it. I think he would shatter his right hand, and he probably wouldn't even be able to hold a spoon again after he fought Joe Joyce. Just being honest.
I'll say this real quick, man. Today is the anniversary of when one of my favorite fighters, Trinidad, got beat by Bernard Hopkins. And if you remember what Hopkins said after that fight, when he said, if you fight a guy with a gun, you don't run from him, you smother him, you try to take it from him, and that's exactly what I think Joyce is going to do. Wilder needs all the distance on that right hand to make it count for something. And if you get in his chest, hey, good luck getting it off, especially against a guy like Joyce, who's got the work rate and the great body work as well. It's going to be a tough night for Wilder.
That bone density. The bone density.
That right hand will be in a cast for at least a year and a half.
Just saying, like he's gonna do the right hand like Thor's sister did to the hammer.
You ever see that? You ever see Avengers: Age of Ultron? When Ultron, like Mr. Claw, took his hand right off. But that's what's gonna happen to Wilder. And I don't wish that on him, but I'm just afraid for him. That's all.
Okay. All right. So one more hypothetical. We'll bounce it the opposite way, Babe. Joyce versus your TF.
Joyce versus TF. TF wins by the narrowest of margins.
All right. 408.
Tyson Fury.
Okay. Chief Funky.
50-50 again.
Okay. Damn. Calix.
Fury close. I'll just continue to go with. I'll always say right now I can't pick another heavyweight over Fury. I just can't.
Okay. All right.
Fury's a tough fight for anybody, man, for sure. But it's a close fight, man.
I think we could all agree Joyce has made the heavyweight division more interesting now, for sure. I think we could have that conclusion, and that I will say for sure. I want to move on to. I'm going to say this, and like 10 people are going to leave the chat. Watch, mark my words. We're going to talk about a little bit of women's boxing. With I don't want to. I'm underestimating people, but look, Harper just moved up, beat Rankin. I think I think he's the one with the curse because when he interviews fighters, they lose, right? So,
that's defamation, man.
But I mean, she went up in weight. I just want to make sure people understand this. She was a 130-pounder who just got knocked out by Baumgartner, and she moves up not one, not two, not three, but 4 weight classes. And not only does she win, she like dominates, like completely outclasses Rankin, right? Boxed beautifully, by the way. I got to give her credit. She boxed beautifully. I think it's the best she's ever looked. But I mean, you don't see this with the man. That's astonishing. And of course, we also know about Jonas. She's about to have a unification fight. She might have 3 of the belts. She's already unified champion there. Jonas is another one. She actually lost a really close, fight of the year candidate against Harper before, and then she lost to Tater, as we know. And then she moved up to 154 and unified, and now she's going to fight for 3 belts. And these are 2 girls that used to be at 130, are now like the 2 dominant forces at 154, right? For what it's worth. And my question to the panel is, how much of this is what does this say for you anyway about women's boxing and the depth of this weight class and women's boxing in general? And how much of this is Harper and Jonas and their skill level? Okay, we'll start with Beeb.
I hate to say this because my social media accounts may get deactivated after this. I may get banned off social media. Just going to say this. This may be an uncomfortable truth. But what I've noticed in women's boxing is the higher the weight class, the less amount of talent there is in the division. And you can say what you want about Shields and Marshall, but that division is very weak. The lighter the weight class, the more competitive it is. You know what I'm saying? Because the bigger the woman gets, it's women, athletic women generally are lighter anyways. You know what I mean? They're once a woman gets heavier, they're not as athletic. They lose a lot of their speed and coordination and stuff like that. I'm prepared to take it. I already have my PR team working behind the scenes to protect.
And he got on me about what I say about Ruiz, but okay, go ahead.
These are uncomfortable truths. Biological statistics can back this up. So, that's what I think it is. So when you have these girls like Jonas and Harper moving up, who are naturally athletic women, right? They're going up there against. Look at the fashion and how they're winning. They're outspeeding, outworking, out finessing, outskilling the bigger girls because, like I said, again, the higher the division, the weaker the talent. Really, that's the way you can see that. And then when you look at these divisions, how many women are actually competing in these divisions? Once again, the higher the division, the less women are in the weight class. All statistical facts. All statistical facts.
Shout out to Slight Tendencies. Fury beats him the way he beat Klitschko. Man, interesting. I think he's referring to Joyce. Okay. Hey, Chief Funky, same question to you. Well, what do you make about how much of this is Harper and Jonas, and how much of it is just the division being weak or just a lack of depth? Like, what do you make of it?
I mean, I think it's a combination of everything. To be honest, but I do think that less weight cut is definitely more healthier for the fighters, not just the women, but for men as well. Harper looked sensational, in my opinion, last Saturday. The movement was there, the counter punching was there, the speed was there. She busted up ranking early in that fight with good, clean right hands. She just looked way sharp, more. I mean, just really, really good, But I mean, we've talked about the depth in these divisions in women's boxing. It's not the deepest of waters, But at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about that, They just got to go up against who's there and beat who's there, And but I do think it is, that Harper and Jonas are both two skilled women, can box very well, and of course, again, moving up in weight makes them a lot fresher and look much better in the ring. That's for sure.
408. Talk to us. What do you make of this? I mean, these two girls from 130 moved up and are now they're close to having a rematch for an undisputed fight in this weight class, pretty much.
It's crazy. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. First of all, credit to Terry Harper, who didn't look like the woman who just got knocked out by Alicia Baumgartner at all, right? 24 pounds. I mean, I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. That would be like Oscar Valdez, who just lost his title at 130 pounds, moving up to 154 and snatching, even beating a paper champ. There's no paper champs. It's Charlo's got all of them, but it'd be like him moving up 24 pounds. And yet she didn't even have an ounce of fat on her midsection, 24 pounds for a guy. And so to me, really, it is an issue with depth. As you guys have pointed out, there just aren't that many women in professional boxing. And as B pointed out, the higher you go in weight classes, the less opponents there are, which makes it easy for a woman like the one that just lost her title to be and hold the championship. It makes it easier. But incredible that Terry Harper's able to move up 24 pounds, look the way she did, put on an Usyk-like performance, moving up to heavyweight and dominating. A credit to her. And it makes me even more excited about what's about to go down in just a few weeks between Michaela Mayer and Alicia Baumgartner.
Well said. Calix, same question to you, brother.
You and I talked about this on the phone a little bit yesterday, and I brought up what Peter Fury said before the fight at the press conference, before what was supposed to be the fight. Now it's going to be in October. And he said, neither one of you have fought anybody. That's what he was saying. And he was responding to Clarissa Shields saying, I did this, I did this, I did this. And he's saying, my fighter hasn't beaten anybody. You haven't beaten anybody. Neither one of you have beaten anybody. And he's talking to the lack of depth in these divisions. He's talking about the lack of depth on these resumes because there are nobody out there. Is nobody out there. So it's a numbers game. It's going to take 10, 15 years before we get there, before we get to that organic build. Until then, you have to have some subsidies. You have to have women's boxing being subsidized until it can go from crawling to walking to running. And we're 10, 15 years from that in every division if we're being realistic. But the good news is we're getting what we need to get in female boxing, and that's rivalries. We're getting rivalries now. So that's the good news.
Yeah, look, this is what I'll say, man. Look, Joe Beef took most of the bullets, so we'll let him get canceled. But, but in all seriousness, I want. Look, the police already. You guys hear that? The sirens are already coming after me. Like I just started talking. Okay, if they bust in and take me out, it is what it is, guys. But I'm going to tell the truth. See what I'm talking about right now. Look, but here's what I'll say. All right. At the end of the day, I want what's best for women's boxing, and if we want that, we need to be honest. Okay. Franchon Cruz, she became undisputed in a weight class that has 18 women in it, and like half of those women have losing records. So I'm not trying to diminish anything, but I'm just being honest when I say it's not the same as Devin Haney becoming undisputed or Canelo becoming undisputed. It's not the same thing. It just isn't, right? And Beeb is right. The lower you go in the women's ranks, the numbers don't lie. Senes Estrada is fighting in a division with over 120, 130 women in it. Katie Tate is fighting in a division with over 140 women in it. That's so low compared to the men, but it's still over 100, right? There's still a lot of depth there. The 118 division has pretty over 100. So there's still a depth issue, but once you go above 140 pounds in the women's ranks, there is a huge drop in talent, okay? So just as an example, Rankin is one of Clarissa Shields, like top. You got to put it in the top 10 of her wins. Like, I mean, she doesn't have that many fights, but it's a top 5 win probably. And Harper just moved up from 130 and beat this girl. Now, I will admit Shields beat her more clearly and in more dominant fashion, but still, we're comparing it to someone who moved up to 130. So, do I respect Clarissa Shields' skill? Absolutely. But when people keep it real and say, yo, yeah, you've been undisputed in 2 weight classes or what, okay, we get it. But at the same time, there's not a lot of depth there. Like, we're just being honest. It's not being sexist. It's not hate. It's just honesty. Like, there's a lack of depth, right? So that's all I wanted to say about that. But I don't want to take away from Harper and Jonas because they're doing the division a favor, right, by moving up and competing in it. Obviously, you saw the gap in talent. So steel sharpens steel. So if they're on top, it's going to force anyone campaigning in those weight classes to step their game up, right? That's the only way it's going to get better, right? That's the only way it's going to get better. So if anything, they might be pioneers of this 154-pound weight class. And I would love Breakus to move up to 154 and fight one of these girls. Okay, I think she could get in the mix. I would love Hannah Gabriels to come back to 154 because then we'll be talking, right? Because then they'll have some competition there. But that is that. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so hey, it is what it is. Now, I'm not like Beeb who says that all these women are going to become world champion at this rate, but I won't go that far. You know what I mean? Now, you want to talk about that, Beeb? Because you have a theory that they're all going to be world champion the way things are going.
Be world champion at some point in time in their careers. The average height and weight for a woman is 5'4", 135 pounds. So I mean, these other women who are fighting in weight classes with 10 women, they're all eventually
18.
How many heavyweights are there in women's boxing?
I don't even think they rate heavyweights in women's boxing.
And there's still 4 belts.
And and that was going to be my next question. So What do you guys make of that? We'll go back to you, Beeb. And it sounds like an obvious question, but I don't know. Maybe not everybody agrees. And Chad, let us know. Are there too many belts for the women? Is 4 too many given the depth?
Yeah. And with all due respect to Hannah Rankin, right? When she was at 160 and you had Clarissa Shields and you had Savannah Marshall there, she had to move down to 154 because it's a very weak division. That was the only way she was ever going to become world champion. And I say that with respect, but if women's boxing was as competitive as the men's, she would never be champion. It took her forever to become world champion. So eventually they're all going to become world champions. All 18 of those women will eventually have a belt around their waist at some point in time.
Yeah. As an example, Neeks Johnson last year lost a fight to a friend of the show, Shannon O'Connell, and then she moved up and grabbed the belt. Like coming off a loss. Like this is crazy. Like, what's going on over here? Gee, fuck, are there too many belts for the women?
Yeah, I think so, especially with the depth problem. So, but we know how boxing is ran, man. It's all about money. They want sanctioning fees and things like that. But I mean, yeah, it's just too many for the amount of women that fight in these divisions.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, 408 sounds obvious at this point, but you want to give any take on the amount of belts for the women ranks?
Yeah, it's too many. I actually would. I wish they did have less belts, But all the sanctioning bodies have their hands in women's boxing as well, and there's a lot of shenanigans, and you could throw in the WBA having shenanigans in women's boxing too.
Yeah, for sure. Calix, it's an obvious question, so if you want to elaborate on any thoughts you have about the 4 belts in the women's ranks.
No, I would say it's you can't even bring it up because let's say the WBO says there's too many belts in boxing, we're going to step down so there's only 3. Then the WBO is then seen as sexist. And now I'm going to be canceled along with B. But it's a no-win situation because you're saying, yeah, there's only 18 women, 4 belts is too many for that division. But the belts have to participate in women's boxing as well. So the WBA, WBO, WBC, IBF all have, along with the Ring Magazine belt, all have to be there, or we know the outcry we're going to get if they're not.
Well, here's the thing: you cut the rounds down to 2 minutes, and you cut the title fights down to 10 rounds. So by definition, women's boxing itself is sexist because you have 2 different sets of rules for the men and the women. So by definition, the sport itself is sexist.
But
by design.
I will say this though. That's not to say that there's no talented women out there. There's not to say, because there is. And the men too, by the way, I'm not excusing them, but I think the women more need to fight the best in the division. Right, like they need to. That's why I actually applaud someone like Michaela Mayer, who's trying to unify, trying to fight. She tried to get this Bumgarner fight because I think she understands. Like she understands the situation. Like she's reading the room and saying, "I gotta fight the top. I can't just be fighting like anybody." So, and the lower weight classes and the women's, I mean, they definitely are more talented in my opinion, right? So it is what it is. And I think this Harper thing and Jonas thing proved it. Okay, so I'll just say that. Okay, with that said, shout out to the women though. You know what I mean? So that's all I'll say about that. I want to have this conversation. Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is moving up to 135 pounds. As we know, he got the win over Robson Conceicao, and he also missed weight, by the way, before that fight. But now we're going to look forward. He's going to obviously move up. He wants Haney. He wants Lomachenko. So a 2-part question. And we're going to start with Calix. What do you think is next for, what fight do you see for Shakur next? What is Top Rank going to do? And how do you think he fares against the Haneys, the Lomas, etc.?
I think they're going to give him some a type of fight where Lomachenko is fighting next month. In somebody between 11 and 20, get your feet wet. Get your feet wet at 135. And then we'll likely see, because these are twice per year fighters now, right? If we're being realistic, twice per year fighters, if we're lucky. So Shakur has been consistent in fighting twice per year against good competition the past couple of years. So that's going to be the level in the first fight, 11 to 20. And then we get the big top ranked fight later that year for him. And I think it's going to be between Haney, Lomachenko. That the winner of that fight, likely that's what Shakur gets late in 2023. I don't think Top Rank at all is worried about who they put Shakur in there with, who they put Devin Haney in there with. I think they see Devin Haney more as expendable. He's got a short contract with Top Rank. We'll see how it goes. If he goes undefeated, we'll try to re-up him. If not, then not. But Shakur, they don't have to worry about it because the dude is so talented. Like, he's so talented. In this past weekend was a mixed bag for me. I was critical of missing weight. I was critical of how he fought in spots. But at the end of the day, I pick him over any of the guys at 135. I do. I lean Shakur over Lomachenko, maybe 55-45. I more than lean Shakur over Devin Haney. I think he beats Devin Haney quite comfortably. That jab and hold is not going to work on Shakur Stevenson. I think he boxes circles around Kambosos. The Tank fight will never happen, but I think he beats Tank easily.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think he beats Tank easily. And the toughest fight for him at 135 is Lomachenko, but Lomachenko is on that, and we talk about it with Canelo the other week. He's on that he's on that downturn in his career. You're just not going to stay in your prime forever. You're not. He's getting up there in age. He's been in fights. He's a 10-year pro. Lomachenko's on the downturn, and I think this is the perfect time for Shakur to fight him. But that would be the toughest fight for him at 135, with Teofimo moving up, obviously, at 140.
All right. Okay. 408. What do you think is next? What do you think is going to be the first move from Top Rank? And how do you ultimately think he fares against Haney and Loma?
All right. Well, there's just a handful of people that at Top Rank that I could definitely see him getting busy right away with. Some of them are like, this one's someone Sonteo Media is really high on. That's Raymond Murataya, who's signed exclusively with Top Rank. This Mexican-American guy will give Shakur Stevenson a fantastic fight. But obviously, when it comes to the talent and depth, Shakur Stevenson's going to outpoint this guy, but it's going to look good to the fans because Raymond Murataya is a very top prospect in my eyes. Or you can go with someone like Jackson Marinez, who should have gotten the win over a Raleigh Romero and recently came in and gave a fantastic performance on like a 2 weeks notice. This guy can box. This Dominican Republican fighter can box and put on a show, but ultimately he's no competition for Shakur. I also think somebody like that we've seen all before, Nakatani, a former world champion. That's the route that I see Shakur Stevenson fighting in his next two fights before we ultimately see him against either Lomachenko or Devin Haney at Top Rank. And I think probably like most of you on this panel that he beats both of them. If the timing is right, Shakur Stevenson is going to clean out at Top Rank 135 pounds. Whether he gets to fight the other divisional stars like Gervonta Tank Davis or fighters over at the Zone, who knows? Probably he never will fight those guys, but it won't be necessary.
All right. Chief Funky, same question to you.
It's a tough.
Guys, I'm going to respectfully bow out. I had to bounce out at 6, man. Congratulations on the 100th episode. If this goes to replay, I'm sure it will, man. Appreciate you guys.
Who knows, right?
And,
all right, brother. Have a good one, bro.
Yeah, I'll check you guys out later, man. Everybody have a great show. And congratulations, D-Styles, Beeb, and everybody here on the 100th episode. Peace out.
Have a good one. All right. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. What's going on, bro? Like, what's? Can't they get their shit together or what? You know what I mean? Oh, it's working now. It's working. YouTube is back up and running. Everybody refresh. Because it's up and running. Okay, so there you go. All right. I think it was 408. He was the one freezing the whole thing. You see, the moment he leaves, it starts working. I'm saying. Okay. But anyway, let's keep it moving, guys. I want to talk about trilogies, right? Specifically 2 of them from this era, right? era can mean anything. So I'm just talking about the last 3-4 years, right? Now we're going to have another one complete later this year with Chocolatito and with Estrada. So that one's pending, right? So that one might take the cake, and I think it will, to be honest. But it's not a trilogy yet. It hasn't happened yet, right? So we're going to talk about 2 trilogies in specific. Fury Wilder, they had 3 fights. Canelo Triple G, they had 3 fights. All these fights were pay-per-view fights. They all did at the least decent. Big gates, record-breaking gates for heavyweight for one of them, and big gates for Canelo Triple G. Big events, big atmospheres, right? But we could only pick one. I'm going to start with you, Calix. What is the biggest of the 2? Or let me rephrase that. Which will be remembered as the biggest of the trilogies of those 2? Most significant, whatever you want to say.
Man, it's tough. I'll go Canelo Triple G, the trilogy, just because I felt like it was not as one-sided as Fury versus Wilder was as a whole, because I felt like that one, after the first fight, Fury had Wilder figured out, and that was it. But that third fight, Fury versus Wilder 3, was the best fight out of the 6, hands down. But I just feel like as a whole, and you could argue the third Canelo versus Triple G fight was anticlimactic. I get all that. But the first 24 rounds, what I got, 2-way action, great boxing, as well as competitiveness, as well as entertainment value, I'll go with that over Fury versus Wilder. But that Fury versus Wilder 3 fight was great. It ended stronger, but I just felt like as a whole, I'll go with Canelo versus Triple G.
All right. Chief Funky?
I agree with Calix. Canelo Triple G, they had the better trilogy. I feel like the second fight was one of the best fights I'd seen in quite a long time. Very, very, a lot of competitive rounds back and forth. And I think what ruined the whole Fury Wilder trilogy for me was the Glovegate thing. That's kind of a and what it did here on YouTube, it just really kind of ruined the whole thing for me. Although the third fight was okay, but the first 2 fights to me were, I could go without it. But yeah, I would say that I would agree with Calix. Canelo Triple G, the better trilogy.
All right. Okay. Babe, talk to us.
I like the TF Wilder trilogy by far and away the best because of the drama that was in all 3 fights. You had knockdowns in all 3 fights. You had really back and forth action in all 3 fights, except for the second one. Actually, we didn't really have that was really a bad performance out of Wilder, but you had drama still. And just like the third fight with Golovkin, Canelo was kind of one-sided. The second fight it was one-sided with Wilder, but the 1 and the 3 were very memorable fights. They had, Tyson Fury getting knocked down in that 12th round and coming up with like the Undertaker. There's just more memorable moments in that trilogy. Like you could look at that trilogy like in the third fight with Wilder, how Fury was having his way with Wilder, and then I think it was that 4th round he got knocked down twice, and his whole body kind of rippled. Like these are things that you're gonna see more highlights of these fights than you will with Golovkin Canelo. People are going to be talking about this trilogy. It's already been said that that third fight was one of the best heavyweight fights of all time. I don't agree with it, but it's been mentioned. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, for sure. And this is a tough one. I thought about this a lot because I think it's like 8 combined knockdowns in the trilogy with Fury Wilder. It's insane. It's a lot of knockdowns. And the drama, and the one thing about the third fight, I will say this. Of course, if you go back and watch it now, knowing the result, I mean, obviously it looks extremely one-sided. outside of like 2-3 rounds. But the feeling in the air while you were watching it live was just different. And I think, I don't care what anybody says, when Fury went down, okay, twice in that round, a lot of people were like, oh, fuck, this motherfucker might pull this shit off. Like, people were thinking that. They may not admit that to themselves, and a lot of it is because they don't like Wilder fans and stuff like that. But I knew there was an opportunity to close it right there. I did. And he
looked fresh.
Granted, a couple rounds later, Fury took over, and it just became a beatdown. But there was a feeling in the air that he might land that big punch again, and he landed it again in the 10th. He caught Fury's attention, but it was not enough. But I think history is going to remember the Canelo Triple G better. Like, I think there were better boxing matches. I think the skill level was just higher, quite frankly. I think there's controversy in itself, but it's controversy in terms of boxing. People argue that the outcome, they debate who won, they debate who won the rounds, they debate who should have won the first fight, the second fight. That's what they debate. They don't debate if make-believe. And I think the make-believe stuff hurt the other one, like the wives' tales. This shit's crazy, bro, about like egg weights and dents in the head that look like an egg weight, and Breland drugged my water, and like just all this crazy. Like, it's going to be remembered for all the wrong things. Not people don't like, it's not a real debate. Like, oh, did he cheat? Like it just isn't. And we still have Wilder fans out here crying, and they're still, like, you see Artman is still on Twitter, like, crying about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy, bro. Like just and then after he said he accepted it, and we have people in the chat, oh, Artman, he accepted the loss. He did. Well, he made you look stupid. All right. Because he didn't accept no loss. Okay. The dude's still going around. You know what he said? He said, how can someone who deals with Killian not do what he did? Like, how could he not believe he cheated? Like, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard, bro. Resto was never dealing with no mobsters, and he cheated. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Okay. And I'm sick and tired of hearing people talk about commissions don't do anything. They never catch anyone, because none of that is true. Okay. They catch people all the time, and they tell them to rewrap their shit. They catch people all the time. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, these guys think that they think that the only fights that are actually happening in the world of boxing are the ones that they see on TV. Like, they don't understand, like, there's hundreds that go on in each state every weekend, and those fights are under the commission as well. And they have to watch every fighter, get their hands wrapped, put the gloves on, all that stuff. So, yeah, it's just a lot of ignorance is really what it is.
Yeah, like, you guys get told to rewrap their shit all over again all the time. Okay, it's on you. And it's hard. Like all I know is this, and I've always made this analogy for anybody who says, well, if they're looking at them, how did other guys cheat? Well, guys have escaped from prison. Are you saying that high securities, prisons don't have high security? That you know what I mean? That anybody could just escape? That's just not the way it works. All right. So all I need to say is this, okay? Obviously, I think that the controversies that were made up, the stories that were made up, in my opinion, kind of ruined that trilogy. And to be honest with you, like, the third fight, as much as the Canelo Triple G third fight felt unnecessary, it did. This one felt even more unnecessary. All right. So, which brings me to this: cap or no cap? Wilder says he wants another crack. He wants it again. He wants to run it a fourth time with Tyson Fury. I mean, let's do it again. All right, babe. Cap or no cap?
The cap.
You think he's lying? You don't think he's crazy enough to want it?
Stop the cap. I don't believe it.
Have you guys seen the movie Captain America? He keeps getting beat up and he gets back up. You know what I mean?
I could do
no.
Never seen it.
All right, Chief Funky, cap or no cap?
I think it's no cap. Now, do I think the fight will happen? No, but I do think that he would fight him again, because for some reason he still believes, he said he'll take to his grave, I believe he cheated me, and like but yeah, I don't think that fight happens again. There's no way. I mean, arguably he lost all 3 times, so what's the point of even having that fight again? But I do think that if it was possibly to be made, he would probably take it, but I don't see it being made again.
Yeah, I don't think that fight's gonna happen. Okay, Calix, cap or no cap?
There's no cap. These style, he would do a 4th fight. I'm telling you.
Best out of 7 on that.
And Tyson Fury's weird enough and crazy enough to do it too. So it's no cap. Like I gotta go for guys.
I gotta go.
It does not happen.
I saw somebody say on Twitter. He goes, "Well, Marquez didn't win any of the first 3 fights, and he got a 4th fight."
Style, don't underestimate the stupidity, and this is with all due respect.
But is that a lie though? He's not lying, right?
Of both fighters and their fan bases, don't underestimate the stupidity of that bunch.
AB
of doing this fight a 4th time, skipping over everything else that's possible in this division right now, and fighting each other again. And then we got to go through all this again, and we got to go through the YTBC, whatever it is that happens when Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight each other.
Is there even a YTBC anymore? Like, I mean, geez, those days I think are gone.
So we're gonna make this very interesting. Babe, Fury versus Char, or a 4th fight with Wilder? What you rather see?
Well, Char's Lebanese like me, but I'd still want to see the Wilder fight.
What about you guys, Calix? Which one would you rather see?
Don't really have to answer that. I would sit out both fights.
Man, but you got to pick, though. You got to pick one.
We're
going to tie your hands behind your back. We're going to sit you in a chair. We're going to put a projector in front of you, and you're going to have to watch one. Which one?
Tied to a chair with a gun to your head. You have to pick one.
I'll watch the Manuel Char fight and just make fun of the fact that it's happening. But I don't want. Please don't let a 4th fight happen. Please don't let it happen.
Okay, G Funky, 4th fight with no egg weights this time, right? Or the Char fight.
I have to say this is the 100th episode of the Roundtable. I think I've been on at least 60, maybe 70 of these. Not quite sure. I've hosted quite a few, but I think this might have to be one of the worst questions asked on the history of the Roundtable. Like, that is just an awful question, man. To see a 4th fight with Wilder or a Char fight, like, geez, can I get a lifeline here and have somebody else answer that for me?
Lifeline. You're just like Callis. You're tied to a table. You're gonna have to watch one.
If I have to watch one, then I would say the Wilder fight. I think it would be more entertaining.
So I have one more. A trilogy with Chisora, because they're talking shit in front of the cameras, and you know what I mean. Like, I don't know, but. Or a 4th fight with Wilder, G Funky.
Could you repeat the question?
Hey, by the way, don't do that. These are the fights that Fury's proposing out here. I mean, I'm just saying, a trilogy, finish a trilogy with Chisora, or a 4th fight with Wilder.
I think I'd have to go Wilder again.
Man, okay, all right. But Chisora, like, covered his mouth like with a bandana. He had a hoodie on. He walked up to Fury like, "Yo, what's up? Are we gonna do this or what, mate?" You know, I'm just saying. And Fury gave him like a serious look, like they're really trying to sell this fight. But Calix, the trilogy or this 4th fight? What you got?
Once again, give me the Chisora trilogy. I don't want to see that monstrosity continue.
All right. Babe, the 4th fight or the completion of this trilogy?
Chisora trilogy.
Okay. All right. Nando Llamas, what's the next great trilogy? Should have been Spence versus Bud.
December, you'll see it.
Oh, man. Yeah. It's going to be Chocolatito and Estrada. That is going to be, and that will be the best trilogy of this generation. There's no doubt in my mind, right? In terms of, you just go by the boxing, like there's no doubt in my mind. And you're talking about when they were both like in their prime, when they were kind of still in their prime, the tail end, and then when they're 2 old men, but still on top. It's perfect. It's a perfect trilogy. All right. So, and it didn't, and you see, they don't have to happen back to back to back. Okay. Like this whole Eddie Hearn era, everything has to happen back to back. I don't know about it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But let's go ahead and proceed here. Andrade. Andrade pulls out of the Parker fight. He pulls out of the Zach Parker fight. He was only going to make $200,000. Big pay cut for him. He ain't going to tolerate this, and he pulled out. All right? This dude has pulled out so many times. It's crazy. All right? Don't need a condom, nothing. He's a master to pull out. Okay? Andrade can pull out of anything. Okay? Beeb, what's up with your boy Andrade? What's going on? What do you make of it? What's going on? Can you rationalize it?
You really can't, because he needs a belt in order to get fights, because no one wants to fight him. He really doesn't bring much to the table, and I say that with all due respect, as disrespectful as it sounds, but it's an uncomfortable truth. He doesn't have a promoter anymore, so yeah, he needed to fight Zach Parker, and he needed to win, and he needed to put himself in position to become a champion again. So WBO would order, a title fight for him. But once you continuously turn down these eliminators and these mandatories and these fights to put yourself in position to become champion, they're not going to reward you again in the future. They'll take you out of the equation. And now he's behind a rock and a hard place. I'm scratching my head at the move. He pulled out a mandatory at middleweight, and now he's pulling out of I think would have been an interim title fight or an eliminator. One of the two. I can't remember exactly which one of the two it would have been, but it would have been a fight, a significant fight. To either be put in position to fight for a WBO title, become the mandatory. You said you wanted to fight Canelo, right? The closest, the first step in the process to fight Canelo was to fight Zach Parker. You circumvented that, so now you can't blame all these other people for not fighting you, because you're not doing the things that you need to do to put yourself in position to get the big fights. It's all your fault. So this is a form of career suicide, in my opinion. This is definitely going to set him back significantly in his career, especially at this point in time.
You know what? I put on Twitter yesterday that, and I don't know if you guys, maybe you two guys can point me in the direction of where this has happened before, but I don't remember a guy not fighting his mandatory, ducking his mandatory, which would be Yanabek twice, and then pulling out of a fight with another guy, Zach Parker, twice in the span of less than 12 months. Has that ever happened? Has a guy ever ducked fight, ducked his mandatory twice, and then the guy he was granted permission to go fight in order to not fight this guy, he pulled out of that fight twice. One citing injury, one citing just money. So as Nando said in the chat, I don't know where you go with this guy from here. I mean, he's a pariah at this point, and it's sad to see, but you look at the career arc, people kept pulling out the small violins for this guy, pulling out the small violins, giving excuses, but the red flags were there everywhere for years of pulling out of fights, not taking short money for fights that could have been led to more lucrative things down the line. And then if you look at the lines of his fights, minus 3,000, minus 1,500, minus 1,200, he's been a huge favorite in all these fights and not getting knockouts, not stepping on the gas, not attempting to reach out to fan bases and expand his fan base by trying to knock guys out. He just hasn't gone out of his way for anything. So I'm guessing he's expecting a big payday to fall into his lap, and then he's going to retire. I'm guessing he thinks that's going to be Canelo. But if I'm Canelo, I tell this dude to kick rocks, because he hasn't done anything to this point. It's ridiculous where his career, what it's been, and where it's at now. I mean, seriously, how do you not take the Zach Parker? I understand the purse bid isn't what you want, but you have to take the short money at that point. And it's Zach Parker's a good fighter. When he signed initially to fight Zach Parker, I said, yes, I would have rather seen the Yanabek fight, but Zach Parker's a good fight. It was close to even money fight, and he was going over there to do it. That's a good win if he wins that fight. And then he has a case, hey, I beat a top 7-8 guy at 168. So Canelo, you got to come see me now. He's at least has a win at that point to draw Canelo to the table. But now what do you do? Where do you go? Where is he going to go to get money? Who's he going to fight? He's with Dimitri Salita Promotions, for God's sakes. Where's he going to go?
Maybe G-Funky knows. G-Funky? Well, what do you make of this? He pulled out a fight that he already announced. Is not enough money for him. I guess $0 is more than 200,000. I don't know. But what do you make of it?
It's pretty sad, to be quite honest with you, man. And I think B was 100% correct when he said that, you know, this guy pulling out of a lot of fights, he's just unreliable at this point. And why would anybody want to put any kind of money, invest any kind of money in this guy when he's, you know, he's constantly pulling out of fights? And like, I think it's obviously money is what he's looking for. Like, that's just flat out obvious. I mean, all these guys fight for money, right? Which is why he went to Canelo's fight and said, when are you and I going to fight? Because he knows that that's a lot of money right there. He made a video, I don't know, when was this? A couple months ago, where he's standing out in front of his house, it looked like, or something. And he's calling out, what was it, Chris Eubank or something like that?
Eubank.
And look, Eubank Eubank is not a guy that's, in my opinion, I think he's okay, but he's a draw over there from what I've been hearing. So I mean, he's looking for money at the end of the day, I think, is really what it is. But yeah, he's been poorly managed, and I really do feel sorry for the guy, But in Calix, you made a good point as well. Look, he's just got to take one of these fights. Somebody, like, you gave up your belt at 160, gave it to Johnny Beck, and then now you say no to Zach Parker at 168. So I mean, I really don't know what the guy's going to do next. I have no idea.
Shout out to Fernando Yama says, worst mismanagement since Nacho Bernstein got both Marquez bros stripped of their titles, and Juan Manuel Marquez lost another title for $40K payday within months. But here's the difference between Marquez and Andrade. Here's the big difference. I agree that Nacho did mismanage that situation, but you know what Marquez didn't do? Pull out of that fight. Yeah, he honored his agreement to go to Indonesia and fight Chris John. He got underpaid, but guess what? That performance, even though he officially lost, people kind of knew, I think he won that fight, and it kept him in the mix. What people couldn't say is, he's not fighting anybody. He was actually still fighting guys, and he kept himself in the mix, and that is just something that Andrade's not doing. Andrade's not keeping himself in the mix. That's the big difference there, right? We're going to talk about the payday all day, but in the end, Marcus still ultimately got what he wanted, right? He ultimately they thought they're going to throw him in there in the Lion's Den with this, young phenom and Manny Pacquiao, and then what happened? He gets knocked down 3 times, yes, but he got back up, and then that was the start of something beautiful, right? So this was the opportunity for Andrade to go out there. Okay, you're making $200,000, dude. Maybe it's less than what you were making before, but you're just not in a position to be demanding more money right now. You're just not. Like, if you were, then you would fight in Rhode Island and generate that money, and maybe he can. I don't know. But he's going to have to do something, man, like at the end of the day. And I don't know, all these dudes capping for Andrade and we're saying things like, oh, come on, you think he's ducking Janet Beck? Ducking Janet Beck? He's going to fight Zach Parker. He's going to, what are you going to say now? Because he just pulled out of the Zach Parker fight. Go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just like, and why should anybody be beholden to give this dude a shot? Why? And usually,
Zach Parker was giving him a shot,
right? But what I'm saying is somebody above him, like a Canelo. Like, why should he give Boo Boo Andrade a shot? And that's what he was telling. Go fight somebody. And Zach Parker was that guy. That's the guy. He's a top 7, 8 super.
Let me give you
that's your win. That's your top 10 win at 168. It's a good win.
It is, but here's the thing, Alex. Let me give you a great classic example. And it was actually in an interview with Joe Beeb. Beeb, what did he tell you about why he didn't take the fight with Charlo? And how did he rationalize it?
He said that at the time they both weren't could have if they could have been bigger if they waited. The fight could have been bigger if they waited. In other words, it was he didn't think it was the right time. He didn't think it was the right time to fight him. He's saying we could have waited and the fight would have been bigger if we fought later on. Basically, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that's more or less what he said.
And that seems to be a generational thing in boxing right now too, right? It's
with all these fights.
Boots and Virgil, like, oh, we got to wait with that. And when I was researching yesterday, you know how many times Tommy Hearns fought before he was less than 4 years in his career before he fought Ray Leonard, and he was fighting on average almost once per month. He had fought 32 times before then, and he wasn't even 4-year pro. He was fighting almost once per month, but there was no, oh, we need to wait because he's 25 and I'm 22. It was none of that. It was just let's fight. It's there, let's fight. But I'm really baffled by this situation because I can't understand what is the reasoning behind this. You know, I try to climb into these dudes' heads sometimes and think why are they thinking this way? Why didn't this fight happen? And you say, okay, I don't really agree with that, but I understand it. But I don't understand the reasoning behind not fighting Janibek twice and not fighting Parker twice.
There's no reason.
What are you planning to get out of that? What's the long-term goal with that? What's the short-term goal with that? What do you plan on going?
Why are we here? You know, what's the purpose of life? You know, there's a lot of questions I have, like, why are we here? What's the purpose of life? Why did Andre pull out of all these fights? Like, these are questions that they're always going to be lingering in my head. I'm not going to have an answer for, or rational one for.
It's the division too. The division sucks. 160, one of the worst divisions in boxing right now. I mean, none of these guys are fighting each other. None of them.
What happens?
You know, the 15-year anniversary of Taylor Pavlik won is today. 15 years.
You gotta muscle yourself in, baby. You're being too passive here, brother. Go ahead.
15 years today. Taylor Pavlik won classic middleweight fight, and I was thinking about that. Like, how many classic middleweight fights have we seen since then? How many?
He's been here for 100 episodes. Let him say what he wants to say. Go ahead, B.
Oh, I just said you were asking what happens, and I said, what happens when you die? I mean, what happens? Like, we're asking the questions. What happens?
I don't know what happens when we die. I don't know what the purpose of life is, the meaning of life, and I don't know why Andrade pulled out all those fights.
You believe in heaven?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
I know. That's kind of deep. This is getting deep for a boxing competition. I will say, I hope there's heaven. I'll say that. I think it feels right. I believe in. Believe in justice, and the ultimate justice would be that things sort themselves out when we all pass, right? So, but that's too deep, you know.
Do you think you're going to get in heaven, or you think you'll be put in purgatory?
Bro, they're going to laugh at me. Like, what were you doing here? Get the fuck out of here! All right.
Trying to clean some things up.
Just do that. Like, I'll be shocked that I'm in line, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But
just in case there is a heaven, I'm just trying to clean my act up right now, just in case.
Yeah, for sure. That's right. But anyway, I don't know. Like, I just think, like, this student. Speaking of, like, Andrade needs an act of God. He needs something to fall in his lap at this point. Or is his career over, guys? Babe, is his career over? Is this like pretty much career suicide?
Yeah,
I just said suicide on YouTube. They're gonna demonetize this shit. But
him and Tio never become champion again.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put that's with Teofimo Lopez. Him and Teofimo Lopez will never become world champion.
Tio is gonna be a champion in 2023. Book it.
Okay,
maybe 2031.
Well, we're gonna touch on that in a little bit, actually. But Calix, is this career suicide? Is this it?
D-Style. How long have I been criticizing this dude and his antics, and we're still going? So, you know, I don't know. It has to be, right? Like, who would deal with this dude right now? Who would deal with him?
Yeah, it's like this. Like, he just reminds me of, like, that person that's like, hey, who wants to fight me? Nobody wants to fight me. And then you got like Zach Parker, me. I'll fight you, me. Anybody? And Janet Bay said, yo, I'll fight you, me. Does anybody want to? Nobody wants to fight me. Nobody. Like you got two dudes like, yo, I'll fight you, bro. Let's go. Like nah, like you know what I mean? I'm just saying. Okay. Whoa, we fell out, but I don't know what happened there. But here's the thing.
Ooh.
I want to talk about just really quick. Who's going to be the comeback kid of 2023? Who's going to have that big breakout year or breakout or kind of a comeback? Like who do you think that's going to be, Beeb?
What is this? Like that movie, The Crow, coming back
That's right.
with a vengeance?
Come back with a vengeance. That's exactly what it says on the itinerary.
I think it's going to be Jose Ramirez.
Oh, okay.
Damn you!
All
You
right.
stole it from me, Beeb. You know, Jose
Jose
Ramirez is a guy
Ramirez.
that I support a lot. So, yeah, I'm
Come on,
rooting
G.
for the guy, and I think he's got a good opportunity to do it. You know, because his division is stacked with guys that he could fight. So he's got a good opportunity to have a great comeback year.
Okay. All right. I think that the comeback fighter of the year next year is going to be Teofimo Lopez. I think he's going to have a great year. I know a lot of people they're talking shit right now because it's easy to talk shit, but we'll talk next year. I think he's going to end the year with another victory, and then I think he's going to grab a trinket. And I'm sorry, guys. I know you just picked him. I think he's going to beat Ramirez next year. And that's going to be his big one next year. Teofimo Lopez beats Jose Ramirez.
Never be champ again.
Damn.
I'm rooting for Ramirez in that fight because that's a possibility that fight happens.
Yeah. A lot of people saying Ryan Garcia, haters gonna hate. I don't know, man. Shout out to Retro Boxing and Documentaries.
Ryan's got a good chance too, you know.
Yeah, right. Could come back with a vengeance. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could do some noise for sure, right?
Yeah, he's had a decent 2022 as well. I mean, like he beat what's his name to go, and then got a good win against Fortuna. So like it all depends on who they throw in there with him, but he's had a pretty good year this year. You know.
What about Lomachenko? If he becomes undisputed next year, that's a hell of a comeback with a vengeance, right? And I think he has a good chance against Haney. So that's always a possibility. Yo, but what's going on with Spence Crawford? What's going on? What's going on with this fight? What's going on with this non-fight? Like, I just don't understand that they're holding up this division. Welterweight, because of these two guys, isn't moving. Like the train's not moving, and they're in the front of the train. Everything behind the train can't move, and the front of the train don't move. They got to keep it moving, and they're not moving. Like we're not. And I got some intel yesterday. I don't want to be that guy. A source says, I don't want to be that dude.
Don't do it.
This fight
Don't
is
do
happening.
it.
It's not going to happen. Crawford's going to fight somebody else.
Take it back.
That's what I heard.
Take it back.
So, and you heard something similar too. I don't even know why you're telling me to take it back, but I'm just saying.
Break it out right now, please.
The fight's not going to happen, guys. And then even if, let's say I don't believe that person, it just looks like it's not going to happen. Like how are they going to promote this fight like in under 2 months? And the whole thing is not making sense to me. It's I don't understand why these guys won't fucking fight. I don't understand what's the hold up. I was talking to Chief Funky earlier. It felt like De La Hoya Trinidad took a long time to make, but it didn't. A year and a half, boom, they got it done. And while we were waiting, they were fighting the Obacars and the I Cortez and the Whitakers. We're getting all types of fights. All right. So like, and these dudes won't fight. Look at all these other weight classes where younger talent has already gotten their shot, from Bam Rodriguez, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney. All these young talent have all been getting their shot. But at welterweight, Ortiz, Connor Ben, Boots Ennis, they don't get their shot. They got to keep waiting because these dudes are holding up the division. What do you make of it, Beeb? What's up with these dudes, bro?
I don't understand it. It's very disheartening. It sucks. It really sucks, man.
Who do you think they're gonna fight?
go. You talk about guys like Tank and all them guys.
No,
Are just
like 147. Like, who do you think they're going to fight? Spence and Crawford.
Spence and Crawford and all those guys. I think Spence will fight Thurman and Crawford. I don't even know who the hell he could fight. I don't know who he could fight, man. I have no idea who he's gonna fight.
I don't either.
He may move up to 154. I think Spence will
fight who though?
I don't know. Oh, Jesus. Castano? I don't know.
But isn't Castano with PBC? Is he going to get any PBC fighter?
Well, you know, the problem is he's used to making that big money that he was making at Top Rank. So he's going to, unless he makes concessions on some of these fights, then he's going to have a hard time getting a fight with anybody. I don't know where his head is at right now in terms of, you know, what he expects to get paid. And, you know, I there was a lot of rumors, and again, I don't know how true this is, that the big issue with this Spence fight was, you know, him complaining about the money or wanting a specific guarantee, and I guess they weren't prepared to give him the guarantee. Again, I don't know how true that is, but, you know, he was coming out of a contract with Bob Arum and Top Rank where he was getting taken care of, and now he's not with Top Rank anymore. So what's his next move? How is he going to secure his future in the sport of boxing?
Yeah. Well, the hard part is, even if he was still a Top Rank, I still don't know who he would fight. I just don't know who he could fight.
Yeah, he would still be up against it in terms of trying to find an opponent.
Yeah.
So, no.
I mean, it's whatever. Chief Funky, what do you think's going on with these guys, man? We've been waiting since 2016, bro.
Awful, man. That is just awful that we're not going to get this fight.
6 years.
I heard it as well a few months back. When reports started to come out, I'm not going to lie, I was looking to see if there was rooms available in Vegas, because that's a fight I want to see. You know, I would love to go see undisputed Crawford versus Spence in person in Vegas. But it sounds like it's not going to happen. And look, the November date, I think, is definitely gone at this point. Like, just not enough time to promote. You know, I don't know if both guys are training or not. And, you know, I don't get into contracts and all that type of stuff. I just know it would be a fantastic fight. But we've definitely missed an opportunity here to make this fight. And look, Crawford just turned 35 years old. And, you know, I got an opinion from a lot of my subscribers that, you know, around that age, and I agree, you get around mid-30s, you know, you start to exit your prime, you know. So if it does happen, we're going to see, if it happens next year, we're going to see a guy who's almost out of his prime in Crawford fight a guy who's, you know, pretty much just at the beginning of his, and Spence. Yeah, it just sucks, man. And
yeah.
I don't know who Crawford would fight next.
So just to correct myself, you know? No, for sure. Just to correct myself. So it's since 2018, right? But still, it's still a long time. Although he beat Ndongo in 2017, he already said he was going to move up. And at that time, because they were already talking about this fight, because if you remember, Spence told Bud, well, get a belt. So then he went and he got Horn's belt. And then it was, so, well, once I'm done on my side of the street, then I'll fight you. So all that is done already, and we still don't got the fight. I mean, this shit's since 2017, the fight about these two dudes, they've been talking about this fight. You know what I mean? Since 2017, bro. That's crazy. You know? Like, that's a long time, bro.
You know what's crazy about that too, bro, is that, you know, they talk about the marination stuff, right? And look, I get it. You want to marinate a big fight so that it's big by the time it happens. But look, these guys, like, they're not those kind of stars. Like they shouldn't be making us wait this long, like Pacquiao Mayweather did. You know, like they're not on that level. They're just not. I'm sorry. And anybody that thinks that they are, you're living in a dream world, man. These guys aren't as big as those two, and I'd say it's probably about a quarter size of a hype, you know, of that fight. So yeah, just I don't know, man. This is awful that we can't get this fight to happen.
Yeah. The whole thing is crazy. And here's my frustration with it. I mentioned earlier. We have boxing fans expecting Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis to fight each other. Like, no, how about since you two aren't going to fight? I think boxing fans should demand that these guys give Virgil and Boots a shot. If they're going to fight each other, then it's about time you fight these young guys. Fight the young lions then, if we're not going to fight each other. And I don't want to hear well, they're past their prime or they don't have a shot anyway. Well, don't worry about if they have a shot or not. Don't worry about if they're ready or not, or like that's not our problem. All I know is that they want the shot. Boots has been calling out Spence in front of his face. Virgil's been saying he wants to fight. So, and the whole time they've been given a pass. Why? Because people keep rationalizing it. No, but we want to see Bud, versus Spence for undisputed. That's what we want. But they're not giving us that. So since they're not giving us that, how about they fight these young guys? How about that?
I think
Because
Virgil Ortiz is in position to become mandatory by the WBO, and I think WBC as well. So he's in a phenomenal position.
He is. Mm-hmm.
So,
yes. No, WBC, they put Thurman ahead of him now after the battle.
Well, he could become the mandatory by the WBO anyways. He could be Crawford's mandatory in the WBO. So that could potentially be Crawford's next fight if he doesn't move up to 154. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, Ricky Ricardo says, I got Joyce number 4 heavyweight in my book. Andrade's career isn't over, but he needs to reevaluate his management and promo team. Crawford and Spence candle is burning out. It definitely is. Go ahead, you funky.
No, they're holding up the division, man. Literally holding up the division. These guys got all the belts. And they got guys underneath them, the young guns that are coming up. They're earning their spot to get a shot at one of those damn belts. So if you're not going to fucking get in a ring and fight, move your ass up to 154, vacate the belts, or give these guys a shot. That's really it, man.
Yeah, like Virgil and Boots they're not younger than Teo was when he got a shot, or Haney was when he got a shot, or Shakur was when he got a shot, or Bam Rodriguez was when he got a shot. So why shouldn't they get the shot? I keep hearing boxing fans talk about like they're not ready and not yet, or like dude, let's just get it on. That's it. And I agree with what Bloodbox said in the chat. I don't think they should fight. Like, why should they kill each other off, right? Why should they, soften each other up for these dudes? For what? If they're not fighting each other. If Crawford and Spence do fight each other, okay, fine. I don't have a problem with that fight. But if not, then they need to give these guys a shot. As simple as that. Like, no, you're not going to hold on to these belts, fight dudes nobody wants to see you fight, and then they got to fight each other. I just don't believe in that. Like, I think everybody should be fighting everybody, obviously. That's including the guys on top. I expect more from them, at the end of the day, okay? Shout out to Eric Gomez. Shout out to you, brother. With that said, this has been a very interesting roundtable. We had technical difficulties from the YouTube side, but I'm glad people came back. We appreciate it. Okay. Joe Habib has completed his 100th episode of the Roundtable. Shout out to you. Shout out to you for coming on. I want to thank Callis for coming on and 408 for coming on as well. You get that Lukey book, by the way. Callis showed it earlier. Okay. So make sure you guys check that out. Look, man, it's been 100 episodes. I did try to do a reunion show. Look, it is what it is. Things happen in life. Maestro Boxing couldn't make the show. And Dave Duenas should have been on, but something happened. He wasn't able to make it either. But maybe down the line we can do it. But as of right now, we weren't able to do it. But I still appreciate everybody that showed up and all that good stuff. Next week, Ringside Reporter is a channel for episode 101. Enjoy your weekend, even though there is no boxing. But hey, it's the calm before the storm, I guess. And hopefully we get some big announcements soon. This is D-Style Boxing. Keep it boxing. I'm out. Peace.
I'm going to have to watch Netflix this weekend.
That's right.